Okay. So the ISKA, right? So in order for it to work, in order for ISKA to work, this problem, you have to have the managing partner do something on behalf of getting paid for taking care of the finances part. Okay, so these are little problems over here. Says the Gemara. We're up to Samich Testament base 4, 6, 8 lines over from the bottom. Svinasa, okay, Svinasa Amar Rav, says Rav, Igra, the payment of the schar, upagra, and the worth of the loss, right? That if it breaks, the seicha pays. So it appears that, so guys, let's get through this. The seicha is responsible, and he has to pay what? He has to pay, that appears to be ribis. He's responsible if anything happens, so it's a loan, and he's also paying. So that's a ribis problem. So Amrulay Rav Kana v'Ravasi l'Rav, said Rav Kana Ravasi to Rav, igra, if he's paying schiris, then he's a seicher, v'loy pagra, and then he shouldn't be chayiv for oinsin. The seicher is not chayiv for oinsin. The pagra, and if he's paying for oinsin, v'loy igra, then he can't go ahead and get, because then again he's getting ribis on the fact that he's getting a loan. Some Rav Sheshes, my time is Shasik Rav. So it says Shasik Rav. Rav kept quiet.
So I mean that it was done by negligence. He's talking about where normal.
So yeah, this is the Rav said this is, in other words, this is a deal. You could do this deal. You could do this deal, and it's not a problem of ribis. But Mamar Shach L'chayr, it should be a problem of ribis, right? Either he's not responsible, and it's not a ribis problem. But so then why is he responsible for anything? Why is he getting paid? Why is he chayav for nothing? If he, right? And on the other hand, if he is paying and if he comes chayav nothing, then how can he pay? Because then it's the ribis. Okay, so now Amrav Sheshes, my time is Shasik Rav. What's the reason Rav kept quiet? Michael, we began Samich Testament base about 6 lines up in the bottom. Amrav Sheshes, my time is Shasik Rav. What's the reason Rav was quiet? What? Did not learn the following brisa. Even though we're going to see on the Yomid base, guys, you're not makabel saying Barzal Yisrael. Give me 2 seconds of your time by fake looking at me, and I'll tell you exactly what's going on. Saying Barzal. The makabel is makabel total achrayas. So what does that mean? He's a loiva. I'm giving Benji $1,000 to go ahead and do an iska. Benji is responsible to give me back that full $1,000. Now Benji's going to divide the profits. The full $1,000 that he's responsible for is a loan. That is not that's a class. When does it work? It works when you makabel half and half. But if makabel full achrayas, so that's same Basel. I mean, it's like iron. I got nothing to worry about. Everything to gain and nothing to lose. I have a guarantee on the capital, and I have the possibility of haravacha. Good. So we don't go ahead and accept makabel same Basel Yisrael. Aval makabel same Basel Menachri. We wouldn't makabel from Menachri, as we know. Menachri is able to do ribbis. Aval Amru, they said Hasam Paru L'Chaver. If someone goes ahead and Shom Paru L'Chaver, again, I've been hacking this last 2 days. When you evaluate something, obviously you want to divide it up. So meaning I'm giving you part as a loan. Or else, why is there an evaluation? The evaluation is we have to know from the start exactly who gets what. And the managing agent says, your par is upon me, dinar. If I don't return it to you, I'm going to give you dinar. So achrayas for the para. So loan. Vani alelcha sella b'chaydesh, and I'll give you for working this para a seller for the chaydesh. Now, this is a ribis problem, guys. He's going ahead guaranteeing him he's going to give him 30 dinarim for the para, and in addition, he's going to give him what? The wage. So apparently, the wage is what? The schar for waiting your para back. The schar for waiting to getting your para back. So apparently, this would be okay. Now, what's the reason? Muta l'fishlei asadamim. So the reason it's mutter because the Seichel wasn't makabel himself to pay the value of the para. What do you mean? What are you talking about? He said he's going to give back 30. I'm going to get, if it's in other words, when I'm makabel 30, if it's dead. But if it's alive, even if it goes down in price, guys, that's the key. That's what I told Mendy yesterday. Again, if it goes down in price, then you're okay. So he says the following: I'm a kabel 30 after it's dead, but as long as it's alive and you accept it's going to go down in price, then it's not a problem. So that's what he said. Rav Shesha said that they only made this thing when it was alive, but not now when it's alive, but after Misa. So too by the boat. Since he was makabel achrayis, let's say the boat would go down in price, guys. The boat would go down in price. He's makabel that, so he's makabel some of the loss. The owner, the owner's makabel some of the loss in the para. So therefore, so why was Rav quiet? In other words, good, he was makabel if it dies, he's going to give it to him. But since while it's alive, it goes down in price. The owner is willing to accept the loss. The owner of the boat is also willing to accept the loss.
That's not some Barzel.
That's not some. Again, it's not Saint Barzel. It's not Saint Barzel. That we said. So in other words, we thought initially it was Saint Barzel. So even though, so we're saying this is not Saint Barzel. Even though Saint Barzel is not acceptable, this would be acceptable. Exactly. This would be acceptable because you're accepting what? Saint Barzel, you're accepting no loss whatsoever. This is the price I'm giving to you. This is the price you return it to me. Over here, you're going ahead and saying, you know what? You're going to get it back, but it's cheaper. So Memela, so Rav could have answered that. So why was Rav quiet? Papa says, Papa Hilchas Svina. The halacha, the Svina is like Rav did. Igra, you get the worth of the schiris upagra, and you pay for what? For the going down, like the words of Rav, right? And they were like the words of Rav. The Nogu b'nei Kufra, and the people who were Kufra is pitch. The boats, they would go ahead and pitch the boats to make them waterproof. The Nogu b'nei Kufra, the people of the boats, allowed to go ahead and collect Igra, the schiris boat, b'shas Mashiach at the time when you did Mashiach at the beginning of the Kinyan, and Pagra b'shas Shvira. And if it broke, they would accept it at the time that it broke. Read the Gemara. Milsi, you're telling me the Nog b'nei Kufra, if the Noig something that's wrong, and they're taking what ribis, so how could you go ahead and do that? Says the Gemara, I'll tell you why. Mishum, the Masnisan Tanya. They learned the brisa that said before that it's mutta. Since they learned that it's mutta, because again, they can get it back cheap. If it breaks, they're going to have to, if as long as before it breaks, you have to take it back in the state that it depreciated minhaga, then therefore they would go ahead and be like that minig.
But what about why if it's damaged? How's that comparable? Still up. If it gets lost or totally destroyed or it sinks, so it's gone, like the cow is dead.
Okay, so now what's the shiloh over here? Let's always, when you ask any shiloh, where's the ribbis? Let's start off. Where's the ribbis over here? If something's a loan, why does it become a loan? When you accept achrayas, meaning you're going to have to give it back to me. A loan, you give me something, I have to give it back to you. Okay? So now, these people accepted on themselves to go ahead and replace the boat, right? If something happens, you're going to replace the boat.
But damage.
Again, before you get that, they're going to replace the boat, right? Okay, so now we got a problem. They're going to replace the boat, and they're paying schiris. That's ribis. Says the Gemara. So, 1 second. How could Rav do this? It's a problem, right? It's a problem. How could Rav do it? It's a problem. Okay. Answers Rav Sheish. It's really not a problem, because they are, in fact, the owners of the boat, in fact, are accepting something. What are they accepting? That you can return the boat to them, and it's not in the same state as when they gave it to you. They accept that. Once they accept that loss, now it's not a halva, and therefore it's okay. Does that answer your question?
The only difference is the damage as opposed to.
It doesn't make a difference. A loss is not, as long as they're accepting some of the loss. So I told Mendy yesterday, it takes care of the ribis problem. So you're right. Yes, one's a larger responsibility, but as long as there's some, it's okay. Now today is a very interesting sugi, guys. It's a fascinating thing about ribis. Ribis is not in Choshen Mishpat. That means it's not DNA Mominus. Guys, I said this before. It's in Yeridea. It's along with my Cholas Isuris. It's along with Hilchas Nida. It's in Yeridea. Hashem doesn't like ribbis. Right? Therefore, by a goy, as we're going to see, you can give ribbis because he's not your brother. The idea of ribbis is that to go ahead and there's a bond between us, and Hashem wants that bond to go ahead and be perpetuated. If you can give an interest-free loan, im kesef talves ami, right? It's an unbelievable thing. Anyone here who took out a mortgage, can you imagine if you got an interest-free mortgage? You took a 30-year mortgage. Whoever pays out a 30-year mortgage? I don't know anyone who did. You have to be really an old man and very. And by the time you pay it out, if you do it early enough, nothing. They front loaded the interest through the roof. And mom is just crazy. I have a 15-year mortgage now. I can't believe, I see kids said so much interest you're paying. I said, are you kidding? It's gone. It's 15-year mortgage is nothing. Nothing. I'm saying, so Hashem wants that. Hashem wants that. So much so that this whole parak exists. If we were just going to the Reis Kedin, we'd have one line. Ribbis Ketzutza. You go ahead, the guy gives you 4, I'm going to ask to get 5. That's it. The whole parak is what? Is mamish full of what? Avak ribbis, nichse karibis, all the drabanan that Hashem wants to go ahead and instill in us. Guess what? Don't do it. However, there are certain scenarios, as we're going to see tonight, where the Chachamim said, you know what? Go for it. Avak ribbis is okay. Avak ribbis is okay. And we'll see. It's machlokes rishonim. Bez Hashem. We'll see. I sent out today. I hope guys got it. I sent out a shtickle from the Shulchan Aruch, and we'll see that. So this is the beginning of the sugya. Says the Gemara. Amar Ravanan, Amar Shmuel, Moishel Yisoimim, the money of Yisoimim, Moishel Yisoimim, Mutter lahalvasim beribis. It's mutter to lend beribis. Nahavamina is what? Beribis ketzutza. Beribis ketzutza. Good. Amalei Rav Nachman, Mishum the Yasmi Ninu Safina Lui Surah. Just because you sign him, you're going to feed them Isser? Meaning, we know that it's such a bad thing. The money you get from Malva Ribis is this kind of good to Zach. People, you don't get all the habits. There's a lot of severe things about it. Just because the Yisraelim we're going to feed them mitzvah? Yasmi, says the Gemara, Yasmi the Ochlu the Lav Didu Lezel Basar Shivka. So you're gonna feed them just because the Yisraelim, you're gonna feed them at ribis. Yasmi the Ochel the Lav Didu Yisraelim that eat something that's not theirs. Lezel Basar Shivkayu. Go after their father to the Beis HaKfaris. You hear this? The father was Malva, what's going to be open? So it can't mean that. So Amalei, Rav Nachman said, again, this is, Rabbanan said Shmuel, this din, and Rav Nachman asked him the kasha. So Rav Nachman said, Emily Eza, tell me exactly, Izu, tell me, my beloved, Gufadov de. In other words, I can't imagine Shmuel said this. It must be something happened, and you inferred that there must be, you could go ahead and you take care of your Yisraelim with ribbis. In other words, I can't imagine that you could say the Yisraelim could do ribbis ketzutza. I can't imagine that. So when you're telling me Shmuel said that, Rav Nachman said, there must be something else. You didn't give me the whole story over here. What's the rest of the story? So Gufa duch the hechi habe. So Amalei, so Rav Ran told him, Ahu duda, there was this dud. Rashi says, it's a cauldron. This is a kumkum. There was a kappa kumkum, the Bnei Mar Ukva, who belonged to the sons of Mar Ukva, and I guess Mar Ukva had left the world. The Havi Bey Mar Shmuel, that was in the house of Shmuel, and he was the apotropis. And what did he do? Shmuel went ahead and he rented it out to others. Takel, he would weigh it, the Yavle, and he'd give it out for rental, and then he would get it back. Takel v'shakikle, he'd weigh it and take it back. And if it was mechus or something, then shakal igra v'shakal pchasa. He would go ahead and take the rental, and he'd also collect for the pchas. So l'chari, that's ribis, right? You rented it out, they had use of it, and you're getting paid for what? The spheres but and why it was so there was no words. The Yosoimim were not taking any loss. They were the owners. They weren't taking any loss whatsoever. There's a rental fee, and plus you're paying for what? The pras. So l'chari they want in far from here. They want that if you assume you could do ribbis. So Amalei Rav Nachman said, "Ki ha." If that was the case, right? 1 second. Igra loy pchasa. If they paid schiris, then what? They shouldn't have to pay for the pchas. The pchasa loy igra, like by the boat. Amalei Rav Nachman said, "Ki ha afilu bidiknoni nami shar lemeved." Even this bidiknoni, people with beards, Yisoimim with beards, literally would be permitted to do it. If that's the case, it's not a shaila ribis whatsoever. You know why? Because they are taking a loss. The mekabli alaychu chuscha de nechasha, to be mekabel themselves the burnt of the what of the copper. The kama de mikli nechasha butts the meha. Fellas, outside. When is the ribis a problem, guys? This again, though. When's the ribis the problem? The ribis is the problem when there's just schiris, you rented it out, and you're getting paid for it, and there's no loss. So there was no loss over here. Why was there no loss? Because he was weighing it. In truth, there is a loss because the copper is burnt. The existing copper, not that one that is mechusa. The copper that's burnt is worth less. So you wanted to say that what? That you saw him, that you want to infer that it's permitted to go ahead and take ribis, right? From this case, says of Nachman, your inference is totally off because this is not even a case of ribis. Anyone be allowed to do this because it's when is it a ribis problem if the financer the balabas is not taking any loss? They're taking the loss because the copper got burnt. I mean, that's not the issue. So that can't be. So Amalei, so Nachman says Kiyah feel because it is permitted. So Amar Rabbi bar Shila Amar Rav Chisda Vimilo Amar Rabbi bar Yosef bar Chama Amar Rav Sheshes Moishel Yisoimim. You have the money of Yisoimim Muta for Bezdin or an apotropis lahalvason to go ahead and lend it out in an iska in a business situation. Karav l'sachar v'rachak lehefsid. Al menas that what they're going to get schar and not take a loss, which is l'chayra ribis. L'chayra they would be permitted to do this because what? Because it's ribis. They would be this. Notice he wants to say that this case of avak ribis, it's avak ribis, would be permitted for Yisoimim. Again, if you're not taking a loss and you're getting a rental fee for a loan, that's avak ribis.
Those are not absolutes.
Again, we're going to see the Gemara. You'll see. Taner Rabbanon, Karav lebasav v'rokak lahafsid. If a person goes ahead, and it doesn't mean karav v'rokak. It means absolutes. It means you're going to see. If you're going to go ahead and get schar, and hefsid's far from you, meaning that there's no hefsid at all. Russia, you're in Russia. That's ribis. That's ribis. It's allowed by Yisoimim. Karav lehefsid v'rokak l'sachar. You take all the achrayas. You the financiers taking all the achrayas v'rokak l'schar, and you're giving a person a chance to make a few bucks. Chassid, you're a chassid. Then karav l'zev, karav l'zev. Or rachak bizel l'zeh, some in the middle, then suimi diskolot. That's normal. That's normal. Amlei Rabbi Rabbi Yosef, Hani Zuzi the Yisoimim, the money of Yisoimim, Heichi Abdin and Lahu. What should we do with them? In other words, the father dies, he leaves them $100,000 on the surface. What are you going to do? These kids got to grow up. So Amalei Rabbi Yosef says, "My svin la beidina, give the $100,000 to Bezdin." And as they need it, what? You give it to them. What's wrong with that? You get used up. What's wrong with that? Amalei Rabba, you're going to go ahead and use up the principal. If you don't invest it, if there's no money coming in, you're gonna give it up, right? So what should you do? So Amalei Rabbi Yosef told Mar Hechi Avid. Rabbi Yosef told Rabba, so what should you do? In other words, you want to go ahead, provide for the assignment, but as an investment that they should not go ahead and lose all their keren. They shouldn't use all their principal. So Amalei, so he told him the following. This is what Rabbi came up with this idea. Amalei. But Kinon Gavra, find a guy, the Islay the Hava Pricha that has gold fragments. a guy that has gold fragments. Now, Rashi speaks out, guys. If a person has gold fragments, you know he's rich. No. Let's say he'd have a gold bar or a gold statue or something that is mesuyim that would have a simon. You have no raya that he's rich because maybe it belongs to somebody else and he's watching it for him. But if it's gold fragments, no one's going to give him gold fragments to watch. Why? There's no simon. So find the guy. This is a very lam de Shirashi. Find the guy with gold fragments because now you know he's rich. You know he's rich. Good. And now what do? V'naktinon dahavamine. Take the gold fragments from him, so you're sure no one's that it belongs to him. V'yavinu lunele, and what? And give what kasef of the assignment in an iska. So you have security. If the iska goes bad, you're going to collect the gold fragments. So this is what you do. In order to watch your assignment's money, to go ahead and insure it, you'll have in your rishus these gold fragments. This guy now is going to go ahead, take the money of the assignment, and he's going to invest it. He'll go into a business transaction. But invest it, karav l'sacha, v'rochak lehefsid. Oh, but it should be what? That the assignment should get all the schar, and what? And not a loss. And not a loss. Aval, davar mesuyim, if the person has something that has a simon in it, then loy, don't take it as a security and don't deal with this guy because dilma pikadninu. Maybe it was entrusted to him to watch. The Asi Murray, and now the master's going to come back, and you obviously money's going to give the simon. The shakole, and he'll take it. So that's not a good option. So gold fragments is the way to go because you ensure that it's his and that he's wealthy. Amar Rav Ashi says Rav Ashi's asked, and now Rabbi seems to have this really great idea. Since you sign them, you're able to go ahead and invest their money, even though it appears in the service it's a avak ribis problem because you're working for them and they're not going to lose anything, which is what makes it a loan. And if it's a loan, then the schar is ribis. Okay, but it's your Simon. Amar Rav Ashi. Great if you can find such a guy that you know that he's gold fragments and you know that what you can trust this guy. Great if you can find such a guy. What's going to happen? You can eat in other words, this is not such a practical thing. And so if you can't find such a person, you're going to end up going ahead eating up all their capital, all their keren, all the principal. El Amar Ravashi, I got another eitzah. Chazinan Gavra the Mishafun Nechse. Go find a person whose nechasim is quiet. In other words, this is a person who's squeaky clean. You never heard he's never shamed up on any document in court. He's always been squeaky clean. There's never been any question about him. There's always people like that. I don't want to make names, but people have an impeccable reputations. That they're squeaky clean and there's no shaila. They're not ending up in Allentown, right? Allentown, Allendale, what? Allen. There's an Allen something. How would you know? Otisville, whatever. You're not ending up there. Okay. All of a sudden, guys wake up. We got prison guys waking up, and so you hear guys. The guy that no shaila. Find such a guy. And that's much easier than finding gold fragment guy, right? Umehimna, and people trust him. Vishamadina daraisa, and he listens to what it din Torah. V'lemekabel shamta d'Rabbanan, and he never was put into cherim. V'yavinu nele beidina, and go to Bezdin, in front of Bezdin as an iska. In a way that same deal. He'll accept the responsibility, and the kids will get. Okay, now this Bezdin. Really interesting. Okay, why in Bezdin? Why do you need Bezdin there? So it says Rashi, Bebeidina, Bifnei Bezdin. Go ahead, let them give the money. No, there's no. Again, they're giving him the money. There is no pikadin to go ahead and insure their money. The insurance is this person and his reputation, right? So now, why do you need Bezdin? Bifnei Bezdin, sheyesh them koyach lahafkir nichsei hamakabel. They have the ability to go ahead and say that, this guy who was hefka Bezdin hefka. So they can go ahead and make it up that it should be a ribis problem. So you go to nichse mekabel etzal yisaimim ulahasas imay karav l'schar v'rachik lahapsid. Says Rashi a chiddush that really you can't go ahead and outright do a avak ribis for yisaimim unless Bezdin's involved. If you didn't need Bezdin, go and avak ribis was permitted for Yasim, just go ahead, find a lesser guy, say, here's the assignment's money, invest it, and shine. And guess what? And you're taking achrayas. And you're taking achrayas to pay them back. If this guy would do that, great. This guy would do that, great. I had to risk or whatever it is. This guy would do that, great. So why do you need Bezdin? It says Rashi, because avak ribis is not permitted. This is the way the Mordechai learns Pshat and Rashi. Avak ribis, according to Rashi, is not permitted. So the way that we work, the workaround over here is we're taking the money and we're being mafker with the makabels, being mafker the money of the iska, and therefore we're going to make it no ribis. Rashi. Other Rishonim, particularly the Rashba, and Tosfos the Rosh and the Rosh. The Rashba says the whole reason you're doing it in front of Bezdin is to have reshus to sell the nechasim of the assignment. We had a Gemara in Beis and Gittin. What can an apotropis do? So you're an apotropis on behalf of the assignment. We need Bezdin that you could sell it. Not that Bezdin's being mafka the money, but simply you need Bezdin to allow you to sell it. The Rosh says that if Bezdin's there, this guy's going to scare this man to make sure that the Isker, even though he has this squeaky clean reputation, done in Bezdin will give it much more legality and much more fair. But according to them, clearly, my nafkamina, like them, avak ribis is permitted. Like them, avak ribis will be permitted. It's not a problem. The reason Bezdin's getting involved is just to buttress it, to go ahead and matter it, or to go ahead and scare the guy. But you don't need Bezdin to go ahead and create the mechanism of allowing the ribis. So take a look at what I sent out. Take a look what I sent out. One second, I didn't put it on the screen. I'm gonna have to hang on. Okay, guys, you can see this. I never give it to you. I always forget. I always forget. This is the wrong thing. I put the wrong thing on here again. Oh gosh. No, I put the wrong thing on. I gotta put this on. Okay. Okay, you can see this, yes? Okay, this is Yarideya, Kuf Sameh, Filchus Ribis. Sif Yud Ches. So Kol Ribis Rabbanon, or Ribis on Simon, it's permitted. I shall hegdish aniyim, I talmud, I tzarech. We need the first part. V'chein noigin lahakol, to go ahead and take the money, and use it. The ribis yisaimim. Afagav yesh machmirim, even though there are those that are machmir. This is Rashi, guys. There are those who machmir. Guys, this is ribis darabanan, correct? Guys, so this is asugya. Asugya is ribis darabanan. This is all avak rib. Says the mechaber, there's ribis darabanan, and it's muta with the Metzia yisaimim, correct? Good. But who's machmir here? Rashi, because what did Rashi say? You need Bezdin. Why? Because like Rashi, it's Asa. And that's what, look what it says in parentheses. The Cheinoigin says the Ramola Hakel, Beis Yosef B'Shem Rambam, the Harosh that I quoted. Afagav the yesh machmirim the ain't a mutter rak bebezdin. That's the Mordechai v'chein mashma v'tayar right. V'Rashi b'perik ezu neshech daf ayin soif amid ayin aleph right. Like Rashi, good. Like Rashi. Yesh mekoyim shenoigin shaputrapis malvem mois yisoimim beribis ketzutza. There are those that even ribis ketzutza uminig toisu, right? It's a minig tois, says the Rama. Vein lelach achrav, don't go after it. V'chol aputrapis shoisakain, who gives that ribis ketzutza. Ayim b'chayshim mishpat siman lamadalit of nifsel, he becomes puzzle ladis. Aval ribis the rabbanon shari. Ribis the rabbanon would be permitted, right? Kol zman the whole time. What? Shaloi higdil hayasim. As long as you didn't grow up, last like b'mayosav kederach shara nashim. In other words, it's not totally an age. It's not totally 13. Is today I am a man. A 13-year-old does know nothing about business. As long as he doesn't know anything about business, you're able to go ahead, the apotropos, and take care of to make sure that they have. We don't want him. We want him to have thing. This would be permitted, right? Okay, and continues the Ramah. Even though he's 13 years old, he's still called the Yasam. So this is again that's the Indian being Yoitza people, the Indian like Shalom, a Parsha Zacha. But there's nothing. That's what I'm telling you. There's nothing to do with age of 13. It has to do with what das. It has to do with das. So this is fascinating. So what do we see from here? We see from here that there are times that we're going to permit ribbis. There are times you're going to permit ribbis, like this right now. In this case, we're going to permit ribbis. Why? The Rabbanan. Why? Because again, the whole Yesod of ribbis is not your brother. So over here, we're going to remove that in order that the Yisraelim should have money. It's kishmat. It fits in very nice with the theme and everything. Okay. Also nice to see that from the Gemara how it translated the Machlekes Rishonim directly to the. Okay, says the Mishnah. Eimekam Saint Basil Yisrael again. That's Saint Basil. That the finanza guarantees what that the achrayus and the chosim is on the working partner. The working partner he was a kabel everything. So it's Saint Basil for the financer. If they shoe ribbis, of makabel Saint Basil min akum. You can lend from them, you can borrow from them, beribis. The chaim beger toishav, right? Ger toishav, a guy who's oichel nevelis, keeps his eye mitzvah noyach. Malvu yisrael my oisav shel akum, midas akum avalem midas yisrael. We'll see that tomorrow, the last part. Okay, let's focus on the first part, guys. Makabel now. Lememra de b'shusa de makabel kaimei. So, guys, outside. I give Yehuda Kerpa $1,000, and I say Yehuda, you are responsible for the full 1,000. What is that called? A loan. Who owns that? Me or Yehuda? No. It's his. He's responsible for the whole thing. Yo, Milvalite's son, he's got the whole thing. It's his, right? If it wasn't his, it was part mine, then it's an iska, right? But again, he's working. I'm going to split half the profits with him. So, Lememra de B'shusa de Makabel Kaime, you mean to say it's in the B'shus of the Makabel? You can say it's in the B'shus of the Makabel. Or Minu, a Makabel Tzayin Barzil min Anachrim, Vlodes Betur min Abachayra. Let's say you have a deal with a guy. The guy gives you to raise his herd. You have B'chayrim there. They part that. Why? If it's Tzayin Barzil with the guy, meaning you take full responsibility, if you own it, then the animals born should be Chayiv B'chayra. The fact that it's part of B'chayra is a raya. The guy still has a piece of the action. A stira between the Mishnah in Metzia and the Mishnah in Bechayris. Rabbi lekasha. The Mishnah in Bechayris is speaking where he was makabel that anything happens and if it goes down in price. The guy was makabel something over there, and over here he wasn't. So that's the difference. It's usher over here because why? Because the Jew was not the financer wasn't makabel anything. Over there, the guy who was the financer was makabel something. Amay Rava, either kibul alehem mariv oinsa v'zula. If the owner was makabel oinsa v'zula, same Basel correlate. That's not same Basel. Same Basel is this guy can't possibly take a loss. If he's makabel a loss, that's not same Basel. If that's the case, guys, that by Yisrael it's possible a case of Tzayin Barzel, where you accept partially, at the Tani Sefer of Makabel Tzayin Barzel and Akam, why did you have to create a new case to Makabel Tzayin Barzel? Liflug with Didi you can make the same Kiddush B'Didei by the Jew himself. That you can't be Makabel Tzayin Barzel, like Makabel Leha Einsa Bezula, if you're not Makabel anything. Makabel Moro Einsa Bezula Shapidami. So L'chayra, two kashas. One, once you Makabel any loss, is not the same Barzel, and Satan's, if you're correct, why would the Mishnah have to go to a case of a guy that you could be makabel? Even by a case of a Jew, you could be makabel. Even by a case of a Jew, you'd be makabel. Okay, Penina, I'm in the middle of the share, but I will come to your house. Ella Amarava, Idi v'Idi like Kibala Maro Einsa Bazula. Both speaking, you weren't makabel. So, question: if you weren't makabel, and by us, you're saying it's totally in the rishus of Yehuda Kerpa. Of course, I gave it to him, and now he owns it. So let's say I'm a goy, and I give Yehuda my animals to watch. Why is he pata? Why is he pata? The animals should belong to Yehuda, and you should be pata. Should be chayav b'chayra. So it says the Gemara. I'll tell you the difference. Gabi b'chayra is hainu taima. The vladais beturmin b'chayra kivon the loyav zuzei. What happens if he doesn't give me money? We have an iska. Me and Yehuda have an iska, right? He has the animals. I'm waiting to get half profits. What happens if I don't get it? What am I going to do? I'm going to take the animal. So even the layav zuze asi nachri and tafas le behema. I'm going to go ahead and grab the animal. The loy mishkachas le behema tafas le vladais. Babile yad nachri beemsa. B'chol yad nachri beemsa patim en abachayra. Forget about ownership. There's a shibud. In other words, I'm going to go ahead and take that in lieu of money. Once a guy is involved whatsoever by b'chayra, it's a din by b'chayra, it's pater b'chayra. One second, Yehuda Horowitz. Let's see how Yehuda is doing.